It was quick and easy. Ethos is 100% online. I got a quote in seconds, applied in minutes, and got coverage in hours. Just answer a few health questions. No medical exam, no blood tests, no hassle. Look, nobody wants to plan for the unthinkable, but it would be so much worse to not plan at all. So don't put it off. It feels great having the peace of mind knowing that my family is protected.
Ethos, the 100% online hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Don't wait. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
Ground ball to third. Donaldson's up with it. He throws to first. Domingo Germán has pitched a perfect game.
It's on MLB Network Radio.
The wonderful thing about this sport that we love is that you never know what's going to happen. For the fourth time in the history of the New York Yankees, perfection attained.
MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM Channel 89, and on the SXM app. Quote based on healthy non-smoking 30-year-old female with 20-year term policy rates may vary. Eligible policies and estate planning tools can vary by state.
It's called Ethos. With the thought of medical exams, forms to fill out, and the cost, it's easy to see why life insurance can fall to the bottom of your to-do list. But at Ethos Life, we've got your back. For about $1 a day, you could get $250,000 in term life insurance without a medical exam. Just go online, answer a few health questions, and snap! Family protected. You could get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and be covered in hours. No medical exams, no blood tests, no hassle. Right now, with your purchase of an eligible policy from Ethos, you'll get something else important to your family. Tools to create a legal will. A $449 value, yours free. Ethos, the 100% online, hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
You're probably doing 9 things right now. 10 if you're listening to me. In other words, you're amazing. But here's the thing about small business owners. The reason you do all of those things is because you get to do that one thing only you can do. It's the thing you love. Maybe more than anything else in the world. We're Ruby, the team of remote receptionists and chat specialists whose one thing is turning every interaction into a relationship. We answer all your calls and chats live. We screen, schedule appointments, and take messages 24/7, all while making your customers feel special. Transforming your front desk and website into the sales engines they were meant to be. But what we really do is give you time to do that thing you do even better. Experience Ruby for yourself. Visit Ruby.com, or better yet, call us 866-GET-RUBY.
Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
The Bulls win it. They win for the 6th time.
Is adding a new chapter as NASCAR takes over the streets of Chicago. This holiday weekend, don't miss NASCAR's first ever Chicago street course race, the Grant Park 220.
Kyle Busch charging to the inside. A multi-car pileup.
Sunday at 4:30 Eastern on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 and the SX.
Thing we know golfers want from a driver. It's distance. But there's actually 2 things. Distance and forgiveness. That's why TaylorMade designed the all-new Stealth 2 with even more carbon for even more forgiveness.
Wait, did you say forgiveness like far? Or forgiveness like forgiveness?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. I'm hearing far.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Exactly. Rory gets it. The all-new TaylorMade Stealth 2. Learn more at TaylorMadeGolf.com.
Which is 44% lighter than traditional titanium. Paradigm redistributes that weight to maximize speed in the front and forgiveness in the back, resulting in an exceptionally long driver that now delivers 15% tighter downrange dispersion. Basically, it's Callaway's longest and straightest driver possible. It comes in 3 models, so every swing gets unparalleled distance. Paradigm with adjustable perimeter weighting for customizable shot shaping. Paradigm X offering more forgiveness, and the Tour preferred Paradigm Triple Diamond, delivering max workability. This is more than distance. This is the new Paradigm in performance. Get
your life.
This is Dr. Laura. If you want some no-nonsense advice, call me.
Your future.
Dave Ramsey here will give you the proven strategies for your life, your money,
your point of view.
It's me, Megan Kelly. Smart, in-depth, fun, sometimes provocative conversations on this show.
I'm not going to hold back.
Plus, inspiring views with Glenn Beck.
And daily bombshells on crime stories with Nancy Grace.
To hear SiriusXM Triumph, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Aretha, Marvin, and all the other classic soul and Motown legends play night and day. It's called Soul Town, and you can visit anytime you like. SiriusXM Soul Town, Channel 49 and the SXM app. Free with all trials and popular plans. To hear Soul Town, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. I love saying, welcome to the show. My name is Charlie of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me, you people who love the universe, today is a beautiful June the 30th, 2022. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade. It's the of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them to sit you where the good Lord split you, and then give us a praise. What a great day in the neighborhood. Not for everybody. I feel for some of my broadcast brethren, but maybe don't look back. Just go do your own thing, plant your own garden. If that makes sense to you, you can follow Big C Sports Podcast, streaming all around the universe on 27 podcast applications: Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, GeoSavan Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can follow us on Podtail, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, Good Pods, and the only one that used to scare me, and I think it hit the broadcast brethren today, is allfeeds.ai. The robots are taking over. Give robots taking over some praise, I think. But they got to install that Teddy Pendergrass app. When the robots start to take over, remember what Teddy said. When he sang the song, he said, turn off the lights, and light a candle. Dun, 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 dun. You see, there's something I want to do to you, baby. He said, turn them off. And then he said, they come to me. And when the robots don't listen, do what Teddy said to the woman. He said, turn off the lights, ding, and light a candle. And when she didn't listen, Teddy said, turn them off. I even turned off my lights and he wasn't even talking to me. The robots have been turning off jobs in the broadcast world. And I was telling my broadcast brethren many, many moons ago that podcast was going to take over for broadcasting. And some people said, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about, Curry. But now I'm going to get into some things. Don't look at it as pain. What did Frankie Beverly tell us? He said, joy, go, jump it up, and pain, pump it up one more time, like sunshine and rain. Come on, y'all, get with me. Joy and pain, pump it up, it's like sunshine and rain. People like, you suck, man. I work the real Frankie Beverly. Hey, I did the best I could. But at the same time, don't worry about when people say you fired, that means you didn't own it. It's a message to everybody, own your stuff. Don't let them put the banana in your tailpipe because sometimes they don't take it out. Sometimes they don't take it out. You can follow what I do. Like I say, oh, maybe it's my fault because I say I always produce my own show. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, and I've been heard screaming all over the universe. One beautiful, intelligent black man. I produce my show. I have no producer on the air. I have no three-way teleprompters, and I do it with God's higher self, my own faith in myself. Number one, I always produce the show. They laid off some producers. I direct the topics. They laid off some directors. I broadcast all the shows. They've cut some some shows from some major talents, some erstwhile talents. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. They got rid of some of the computers. The commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on in deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. And that's the way it goes. I guess women love the long ball and men do love hitting deep. Tell them it's human nature. The great Michael Jackson told us about it. And then I'm telling you, the show's uploaded to 27 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City that gave a lot of people, especially some African Americans that walk in papers today, since the Supreme Court said that race cannot be a factor in employment. Clarence Thomas, give Clarence Thomas some praise. Congratulations, Clarence Thomas. Congratulations. There's a book called I think it's called Black Like Me by Howard Griffin. Maybe someone should see if he's really black. All people are black. All life came from Africa. But what would his grandparents say about the Jim Crow they went through and now he's striking down the affirmative action? What would his grandparents say about they have the colored drinking fountains and the white drinking fountains, the colored restrooms, the white restrooms, the colored neighborhoods, the white neighborhoods, and Clarence Thomas fans? We don't have a race problem in the United States. I don't see color. I don't see color. Isn't that something? Well, now you don't see color, if that makes sense to you. And then the show's uploaded to 25 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. And those platforms are streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. And I'm telling my black brethren, instead of begging mainstream for a job, get together like the days of the Black Wall Street and form your own shows and quit giving them all of your talent. You give them free, it's called a fluffer in some industries. You know what the fluffer does? The fluffer comes in and makes sure that the star is ready. And they've been fluffing you guys for years. Big C been telling you that. They stealing your talent. They stealing your knowledge. And now they're telling you they don't need you because robots can replace your butt. But if you get your, don't cry. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and create your own platforms and quit giving your talent away. How about that for you? There, how's that, Mr. Song? Quit giving your talent away. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. I'm not begging anybody to affirm any action. My action is God, and I give God praise. I don't sign with those people that want to rob you. I mean, that's a shame, but sometimes things happen. My show's going to be a little bit different today, and I'm even having I just may have a surprise for you at the end. But at the same time, I love paying homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. I really love giving that out. You know anybody going through issues? A lot of broadcasters may need to call this number, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, give them some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. You also know what happened. The Reparations Task Force in California, the first one in the history of the universe, it approved measures to send the California governor, Gavin Newsom, to present to legislation for them to agree on, and for President Biden to sign executive order. Reparations now, reparations forever. These things we talk about reparations. Some of our home black brethren, they thought, oh man, I got security. All I got to do is act like a mouse. Just act like the mice do when you're really quiet. If you don't hear mice, why bring in your cat? Cats find the mice. They will find the mice. But a lot of people were thinking, hey, he's telling you, hey, you love your brother. Hey, you love your brother. How's your family doing, brother? I appreciate your brother. And then they said, you're fired. And a lot of guys are wondering, I thought the guy said he loved me. I thought the guy called me brother. The guy even said he loved me. He even had lunch with me. And now he gave you but the walking paper because computers are taking over. I've been telling you that for a long time. You got to get your own platform. You got to own it. 40 acres of the mule! It wasn't just meant for land. It meant for people to own your stuff. You go to a man's house asking him, can you rub on his wife's feet? He might say yes every now and then if you're famous enough. He might let you rub on his wife's feet. He might say, man, you that famous athlete. I remember when you used to run and score touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. And he lets you rub on his wife's feet. In fact, he want to watch. But now that you got fired, when you knock on the door, hello, who is it? You know, it's the erstwhile athlete. I was wondering if I can rub on your wife's feet again. And they say no. But why not? You let me rub on it yesterday. Yesterday you had a job. You don't have a job now. Why would I let you rub on my wife's feet now? And a lot of men been rubbing on the feet of these broadcasters that don't like your butt anyway. They don't love your family. And whenever you talk about doing something that benefits your kids, they say, don't you dare talk about what helps your kids. And Big C Sportsmen talk about reparations. And some of the same guys that said, man, you talk too much about problems. You talk too much about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Those guys got fired today. Big C Sportsmen still giving God praise. Give God some praise. Don't be sad when Martha said you got to go, boy, he set you free. And a lot of people say, man, if I was a slave, if Martha set me free, I would have run away. Well, let's see if you run away and get your own platform, or when you go back begging another network, can they steal your talent? Create your own stuff. Create your own stuff. Make them come to you. They're replacing people with robots. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And I've been telling you the truth is coming. A lot of people, they've been trusting Martha to keep them employed. The only Martha you have is Yahweh, Jehovah, the Ancient of Days. And now a lot of people that said, oh man, you talk too much about stuff that's not going to make Martha want to give you a job. And now some of those guys are calling me and say, hey, Big C, you think I can come on your show? You think I can come on your show, man? You think I can come on your show? I say, get your own show. Find somebody who loves you with all of her heart, mind, body, and soul. And then love her back with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Don't go begging another man if you can rub on his wife's feet. It might be fun for a while you're a famous athlete because they love that kind of stuff, if that makes sense to you. But once you're not famous anymore and you don't have a jersey on, they don't want you rubbing on their wife's feet. More people are protective about their money than their own spouse. They will let you rub on their wife's feet. They will let you take a picture with their spouse. They'll even let you sign your name on their wife's body parts. I've seen it with my own two eyes. They don't go to their bank account and give you their PIN number, do they? Do they? No. They protect their money more than they do their own spouse. And you found out today, you can Google the Justice for Uncompensated. It's called Survivors Today Act of 2017. The Justice Department for Uncompensated Survivors Act of 2017, United States of America. Legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war governments. All I'm saying is it's time for everybody to just realize some people don't like you. They just wanted to steal your talent. It's called like sharecropping. They've been stealing your talent for years. And now they told you we don't need you anymore. Human rights chief calls for reparations to descendants of chattel slaves in the United States of America, and I'm with it. I'm going to do so a little bit different today on the last day of June 2023. My goodness, we're almost on 2024 in just about 5 months coming up. Isn't that something? At the same time, California Reparations Task Force meeting. It was yesterday. Big C was there. I spoke about it. A lot of people had the chance to speak. It was a packed house in Northern California. Only, I think, one major news network did not cover it. What's that tell you? If anyone that was black was accused of committing a crime, they would have been all over the news. They would have shown the picture of the guy or the gal every 2 or 3 minutes. But the most seminal meeting in the history of the United States of America started in California yesterday since the Emancipation Proclamation, and one network in Northern California did not cover it. Isn't that something? Not everybody likes you. They're going to smile on your face and kiss your butt. At the end of the day, they don't like you. And you're over there asking, hey, man, hey, who is it? It's the erstwhile athlete. Hey, how can I help you? I was wondering, can I rub your wife's feet again? And he says, no. He said, but I was rubbing it yesterday. Yesterday you had a uniform on. I want to touch on this because it's a little bit different. So, Supreme Court bans affirmative action. Congratulations, Clarence Thomas. I'm sure your grandparents are so proud of you. All that Jim Crow they went through, they are so proud of you. Whites only, coloreds only, couldn't vote, couldn't buy property. Black Like Me is a book by John Howard Griffin. People should buy it. So the mothership dismisses high-profile talent amid sweeping layoffs. It says, get ready for a big change in coverage company-wide at the mothership. The coverage of the NFL will look vastly different and more white next season after what may be the most described as a stunning list of names and legacy on-air personalities who were let go today. Fired. June 30th. Reports have stated around 20 individuals being let go, fired at the mothership. At the time of publishing, it just so happened to happen after the Supreme Court and Clarence Thomas struck down affirmative action because America does not have a race problem. Isn't that something? At the time of publishing, they had 13 that learned of 13 people who had lost their jobs. Additional names will be added to that list. It's a shame, but really is. It depends on how you look at it. Among those who were large contributors to the NFL coverage is Susie Kobler, most recently as host of Monday Night Countdown. Kobler spent 27 years with the network. Her bio tells the story of a professional and a career covering sports that was let in because of affirmative action. People thought it was for black people. White women got the most benefit from affirmative action, and some people didn't want it. Now the white ladies are losing their jobs. Todd McShay, the ESPN senior NFL draft analyst and college football analyst, had been with ESPN since 2006. McShay had been a part of ESPN's NFL draft coverage since 2009. Provided coverage as a sideline reporter for college football. The great Steve Young, 6 touchdown passes in a Super Bowl over the, at that time, San Diego Chargers, and 5 went to Jerry Rice. Former Super Bowl MVP, Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback, was a mainstay with ESPN as an analyst on Monday Night Countdown and additional NFL content shows in 2000. He's gone. Matt Hasselbeck, the former NFL quarterback's primary role as an analyst on Sunday's NFL Countdown, and he also contributed to a number of other mothership TV and radio platforms. Hasselbeck has been with the mothership since his retirement from the NFL in 2016. Keyshawn Johnson, just give me the damn ball! When the mothership analyst, NFL Live, and radio show host Keyshawn Johnson, J. Will and Max lost his marquee morning radio show, his dismissal seemed all but imminent. Additional high-profile talent shown the door from people that said, I love you, man. I love you, brother. Shown the door, including Jeff Van Gundy, widely considered one of the best NBA TV game analysts. Van Gundy spent 16 years on the mothership's ABC lead NBA coverage team. Van Gundy joined the mothership in 2007. Jalen Rose, the NBA's countdown analyst, spent a decade with the mothership ABC as part of the top NBA broadcast team. He was also part of several other NBA-centric programs. Max Kellerman, the longtime boxing analyst, was most recently the co-host of the mothership's radio signature national morning show, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max plus ESPN Live weekday afternoon show. This just in, and Max unboxing on the mothership too. Among a myriad of other appearances amid sprawling career at the mothership, Kellerman was previously part of First Take with Stephen A. Smith. DeFonso Ellis, the men's college basketball analyst, has been part of College Game Day since 2019. Ashley Brewer, the mothership Sports Center anchor, who joined the network in 2020. Jordan Cornette hosted the ACC Huddle for 6 years in the ACC network. Jason Fitz, the mothership radio host, and mothership Sports Center on Snapchat host, Fitz, and been part of numerous radio shows during his tenure at the mothership. June Lee, Major League Baseball staff writer who spent 4+ years with the mothership, has not been kind for those employed by the parent company Disney. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Really? The mothership brand company announced earlier a year initiative of getting rid of 7,000 jobs. 7,000. And the layoffs today were the third round is what's likely to be continued to push the trim salary because the robots are taking over. You thought I was joking when I said allfeeds.ai? They're pushing for people who can do the show like Big C. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, and people with my talent, they're least likely to hire. They say, well, we don't know if we're ready. We don't know if people will listen to you. And I'm still standing. What did Two Live Crew saying back in the day? They said, I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a movie star. Feeling like a little kid. Well, I'm still standing. I'm still standing. And I say to my brethren that got the opportunity to plow another man's garden and rub on the feet of another man's wife, get your own garden. Get your own wife. If you join the podcast platform, you can take over. If the talent leaves the people that don't let you own anything, and you create your own platform, give that some praise. Don't look at it as a sad thing when a man says, you can't rub my wife's feet anymore. She only likes guys with a uniform on. Get your own wife. If you can't get a wife, get your own girlfriend. If that makes sense to you, that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. I know everybody has their own favorite Kool-Aid, but I keep it real. I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Reparations now, reparations forever. Now our black brethren are understanding that, maybe Big C was right. Maybe we should push for reparations instead of shucking and jiving and keeping our mouths closed because we're afraid to tell Martha that we need reparations now. I hope that these guys get some balls and start having some balls instead of just playing with balls. Have your own background. People don't have to like you. Not everybody likes me. A lot of people have just turned against me like a vacuum sucking out dirt. It's amazing. The dirt thought it was fine until the vacuum showed up. A lot of people turned. But you know what hasn't turned? The Almighty God gives God some praise. California Reparations Report. It urges action on housing, discrimination, and over-policing. You heard it first on Big C Sports for about the last 3 years. I've been doing it. I've been doing this thing. We got the State Senate, Stephen Bradford, who's responsible for name, image, and likeness. Secretary of State Shirley Weber, who's amazing. Task Force member Lisa Holder. Assembly member Reggie Jones Sawyer. I'm telling you, they held up a final report of the California Task Force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans descendants of chattel slavery. And Big C was with them all day yesterday. Those guys that got fired, they should have had their butts there too. Because pushing for reparations would have meant you wouldn't be so hoodwinked, if that makes sense to you. But a lot of our brethren, they've been told to be quiet. They've been told, you shut your mouth! Don't you dare talk about helping black people! And the white guy should be behind it too, because all that came from Africa. But the California Task Force to study and develop reparations proposals for descendants of chattel slavery during a hearing in Sacramento, California, Thursday, June 29th, 2023. Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that did a full show on reparations. Everybody else sucking and jiving, they got fired today. You should have been telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. If it wasn't just me, there'd be a lot more people saying, you know what? They do deserve opportunity. But a lot of people were afraid. The report now heads to lawmakers who will be responsible for turning policy recommendations into legislation. Reparations will happen when lawmakers and Governor Gavin Newsom agree. And President Biden signs executive order. When President Biden came into office, his first most seminal thing that he did are put into order. He signed executive order advancing racial equality. I know a lot of people don't want to think about that because a lot of people don't read. They just want to have somebody tell me what happened. But President Biden, one of his first tasks as he became president, he was put in office by black Americans voting for him substantially. He signed executive order advancing racial equality. He has a chance to get reelected as president by signing reparations into law. Because the same people that put them in, if they say no reparations, no vote, that opens the door for other people. But I think he's going to sign it because that's what he said he was going to do something that changed his over-policing that he had in the prison industrial complex. The crime bill, he signed that back in the day, he and Bill Clinton. But you know what? He apologized for it. He's not a perfect man, but he has a good heart. And I think he's smart. He's smart enough to do the right thing. And he signed executive order advancing racial equality. And now that Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court, sometimes people think it's just about black and white. Clarence Thomas signed to ban affirmative action because he didn't want his grandparents having a chance to live where they wanted to live, or vote, or even use any restroom they wanted to, or drink any water fountain. And this man, is this the man who erected affirmative action for even his lineage of where he came from? John Howard Griffith, black like me, maybe he's not black. In a report 2 years in the making, one of the details how California is so important that people understand this. How California, a state that never officially sanctioned slavery, but the first governor of California, he did have slaves. He came from the South, and he was up in Oregon, then he came to California when they discovered gold here. But California, it can confront decades of policies that have kept black residents from living in neighborhoods they chose to, being treated fairly at doctor's visits, and building generational wealth. California, yeah, it was complicit. Don't act like they're not. California Reparations Task Force completed its work Thursday and turned in more than 100 recommendations to the legislature in California, the first work of its kind in the history of the universe in the United States. The nearly 1,100-page document, it recommends the state formally apologize and suggests how to calculate monetary reparations. And I'm telling you, there's so much that's important that's going to help all Americans. If something's broken, you got to repair it. When President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, it promised black Americans 40 acres and a mule. When he was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along and he vetoed the bill and he gave the land back to the KKK called the Southern Confederates. And that's not right. And no president has had the decency to put his hand on the Bible and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Not one president has done that. President Biden will. And California Governor Gavin Newsom, I give you praise, man. It takes a lot to turn into being a truth teller, especially when you have some of those Southern Confederate families that still had children, and they're in politics too, and they don't want liberty and justice for all. And not all of them are white. Housing discrimination, the report counts that California policies have kept black families from retaining property and living in certain neighborhoods, and the effects of redlining, which led to black families being denied home loans and eminent domain, where residents' property was seized by the government. Oh, there was no discrimination or slavery in California. Property was seized by the United States government still linger. The report also states the panel recommended returning property unjustly seized from black residents. It also urged lawmakers to offer property tax relief to African American homeowners living in historically red-line neighborhoods. Oh, people never had any type of discrimination in California? Yes, they have. Over-policing and mass incarceration. President Biden signed the crime bill. He knows that. And he's also going to sign the reparations bill. The task force condemned policies and practices that have led to black Californians deemed disproportionately stopped by police, killed by law enforcement, or in prison, racially profiled. They don't do that to white people. When I was in college, I was with a group of white women, white college girls, driving around, bringing them home from a party. They were all high. They were all smoking dope. They were all drunk. You know the one who didn't smoke and didn't drink? The black guy. Me. You know the one who gets racially profiled? Of those three white ladies? The black guy. Me. Recommendations include ending the death penalty, banning cash bail requiring anti-bias training for police officers, funding education for more African Americans, prospective lawyers. The panel also called on lawmakers to bar searches by law enforcement based on a person's consent alone. Health harms. The committee urged lawmakers to address disparities in maternal mortality and treatment for substance abuse. Members also call for lawmakers to set aside money to research rising suicide rates among African American youth. Another suggestion is to fund wellness centers in historically black neighborhoods to address mental health issues and refer patients for psychiatric medical care. Payments. Show me the money. You saw the movie. Money. Payments. The recommendations include paying black Californians who lived in the state while certain discriminatory practices were in effect. The task force voted to limit eligibility to people descended from free or enslaved black Americans living in the United States by the end of the 19th century. The panel stopped short of endorsing a fixed dollar amount for individuals. I'm saying $10 million for every black American. $10 million! The panel stopped short of endorsing a fixed dollar amount. Big C Sports says $10 million. $10 million! That's the amount of most Division I college football players make for coaching black boys. $10 million. The members recommended calculations from economists projecting the state is responsible for more than $500 billion of over-policing, mass incarceration, and housing discrimination. The task force recommended creating an agency to implement and oversee reparations programs and help people research their family history to find out if they may be eligible for compensation. The next steps. Realize we had the Homestead Act, 1862, gave white Americans over 276 million acres of land to develop the United States and white Europeans. But they said you could not be black. You know, the people that helped the United States win the Civil War, called the Union at the time, and President Lincoln promised 40 acres and a mule. And when he was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson, who was a racist and owned slaves himself, he gave the land back to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. Reparations must happen now. The next steps, any policy changes must come through legislation, and I believe they're going to do it because they're decent people now, because they put their hand on the Bible and they said, listen to Big C Sports. That's the wrong script. Let me get the right script. They put their hand on the Bible and they said, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And they're going to do that because they're going to read all 1,100 pages. And telling you, the great inimitable State Senator Stephen Bradford and Assembly Member Reggie Jones Sawyer, both Los Angeles area Democrats on the task force, have both said they plan to introduce legislation. And he's the one that made name, image, and likeness happen for college football players, black players, and white players. And had some of our white coaches saying, if they start paying the players, then I'll quit. And they haven't quit. They haven't quit. But they said, if you pay the black people, we're going to quit. They haven't quit. We've been asking them to quit. Get your sorry butt out of the office. Get your sorry butt off the team and give that job to a black man and give him some praise. They're helping you win anyway. Some of our white coaches, Dabney Sweeney's one of them at Clemson. A lot of others. You can Google the name. If you pay these black players, I will quit. They haven't quit. But Bradford, great job on name, image, and likeness. Give that some praise. And Bradford has previously cautioned that it could be a challenge to get large cash payments, and I don't think it will be. Just do what we did to President Zelensky in Ukraine. He was never even enslaved in the United States, nor his ancestry. He got $100 billion. He didn't march. He didn't need a task force. Just put it in writing like a layaway plan. Give me my $10 million. You can start with a $1 million payment and put the rest in annuity. Sophie Austin is a core member of the Associated Press, reporter for America State House News Initiative. Report for America is a nonprofit national service program that polices journalists in local newsrooms to report on undercover issues. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of great things. I just want to give it praise because Big C Sports has been the only sports show in the universe the last 5 years championing reparations. It's just fair. I I want us black Americans to be treated like our Jewish brethren, Holocaust survivors. Black American soldiers helped end Hitler's reign in the Holocaust. They've gotten the reparations. Just like some of our Chinese Americans falsely interned in internment camps in the United States, they got the reparations already. Native Americans getting their reparations through reservations that have casinos. They're getting it all over the place. They've only overlooked the most beautiful, intelligent people, the original people of the planet. That's black Americans. According to Dr. Leakey Greta, all life came from Africa. I got about 3 hours of sleep last night because I'm so excited in being part of the national. Oh my goodness. I'm so proud. The National Black Wall Street Project, been invited to work with them. Give that some praise. There's so many beautiful, intelligent people that I met, black and white, at the California Reparations Task Force meeting. And I'm just proud that people want to see the right thing get done. Black and white, Asian, Hispanic, there are a lot of people championing for reparations. The more you read, the more you realize if you went home to your own house and everything was stolen from you, and you knew who did it, you follow a police report, the police say, well, what did Senator Mitch McConnell say? Well, we don't believe we should have to pay reparations for something that we stole over 150 years ago. Mitch McConnell would say if his house was burglarized, he wouldn't even call the police. He said the thieves who stole it, they deserved it. They deserved to keep it. But you know that's not what he would do. He would call law enforcement and follow the report, just like when Nancy Pelosi's husband had a breaker in and they were beating the dude over the head with a hammer. Police didn't shoot him. They didn't tase him. They went and tackled him. I've seen black kids get shot by having a cell phone. Oh, we thought he had a weapon. And you saw a white man beating a man over the head with a hammer. The Speaker of the House husband in San Francisco. They didn't shoot him. They didn't tase him. They wrestled him to the ground. I wish they would wrestle more black Americans to the ground and stop shooting people. That's part of why we need the reparations. You can give that some praise. Don't be afraid. You know what? You shouldn't be afraid. And I believe good people, it was good people that helped end the Holocaust. It wasn't people who were afraid. It was good people that helped end Japanese being interned in internment camps. It wasn't the scared people. It was good people that created the end to slavery when black soldiers joined the Union Army and helped defeat the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. It took good people then, and it takes good people now. We either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Because Dr. Martin Luther King told us, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to listen to Big C Sports. And you have to keep moving forward. I think most people want decency for their families. I know I do. It's an easy thing to just turn the other cheek. Remember the Me Too movement? And all the white Hollywood women were coming out saying it happened to me too, that they were being assaulted by men, mostly white. And the Me Too movement, we even going to try to get Gloria Allred to stomp for reparations. Do something decent for a change. Stomp for black women who have been brutalized, marginalized. Stomp for them. Because reparations will happen. I think all of our Jewish brethren that we've given praise to and been friends of that are championing reparations also. We all deserve to be treated fairly so we can have the pursuit of happiness. All of us do. But sometimes you're going to have some mainstream media, you know, the Southern Confederates, great-grandchildren that got in the media. They're going to try to make it about something else. And that's a shame. But they also tried to keep slavery in place. But it didn't happen because of decent people and God-fearing people, and give God-fearing people some praise. And just in case you don't know, Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that's not having layoffs. I'm not having layoffs. In fact, when I get my funding, the $6 billion, I'm going to hire people. Give that some praise. When I get the $6 billion, I'm going to hire people too. Some of those same guys that got laid off may get a job working with Big C Sports. All I ask is that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God. That's whatever you say, you can Google it. That's my own requirement. No profanity, you got to Google it. San Francisco Reparations Committee proposes a $5 million, I'm saying $10 million payment to each black California citizen. It's important. The committee in San Francisco also released an extensive proposal for reparations. They included a one-time payment. I'm saying free housing, free land, free college debt, eliminate college debt, free college tuition. You know, we were enslaved in this great country longer than we've been free. Think about that for the knuckleheads that say, oh, we don't need no reparations. Black Americans have been enslaved in this country longer than we've been free. And we happen to have the most beautiful society and culture in the universe. All culture steals from Black Americans. Our music, the way we talk, a lot of things. But we've embraced every culture of people. Even the black church, they open doors for everybody. There are a lot of white churches, they're 99% white. They don't even want people to feel comfortable. But San Francisco, the African American Reparations Advisory, why do I say the white churches don't want people to feel comfortable who are black? Because they still have a picture of a white Jesus. I read the Bible 7 times. I've never seen Christ depicted as white. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9. In 10 and 6. In Colossians, Christ has hair that had skin the color of brass and hair like lamb's wool. He was not pale and blonde. The Europeans did that for ethnocentrism. And that's why a lot of people like the segregated churches. Christ was not white. He was a man of color. And all people come from the Eve gene. Beautiful, beautiful black women. All over the universe. Come out of the womb of a black woman. Has the dominant seed. No other ethnic group can say that. The San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. If you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. They like me strike. But the Reparations Advisory Committee, it created in 2020 under the City's Human Rights Commission. It was tasked to develop a plan to address the institutional city-sanctioned harm that has been inflicted upon African Americans communities in San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. The committee has no authority to implement its recommendations, but the task force does. It's so important. Director of Economic Rights at the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee said the San Francisco Board of Supervisors received a draft of the 60-page proposal in late December. I'm talking fast because I'm so tired, but the work has to get done, and I'm a champion of it, and you give me praise. Either lead, follow, and get out of the way, and I promise God I'll be a leader. No more racism. I'm going to make racism a federal crime, a hate crime. I'm going to do it. I'm going to champion for that. Why are you upset? You're not racist. Why would you be upset? It's only for the crooked people. If you're not crooked, why would you worry about it? It's like there's a crime for bank robbers. Oh, don't have a crime for bank robbers. If you're not a bank robber, why would you be concerned? The final report was submitted yesterday. The proposal includes dozens of recommendations, over 100, related to financial reparations, housing, job creation, education, the school-to-prison pipeline, health, and local policy. And I want to put an end to racism. We're going to use artificial intelligence to tell if you're racist. If you're racist, if you're found guilty of racism, we're going to have a mandatory prison sentence. That'll teach them. To be eligible for reparations, San Francisco residents must be at least 18 years or older, have been identifying as a black or African American on public documents for at least 10 years. I had some white friends telling me they want to be black now. I said, you already are. You just have the recessive gene. They go, what do you mean? I said, Google where all life came from. Dr. Lee King Gregory Mendel. Dr. Leake is considered the father of paleontology. Gregory Mendel is considered the father of genetics. They all opine that life began in the African continent from the womb of a beautiful Nubian black woman. The racism is a social construct created to create division. I don't want to have people divide. All I say is the truth. So set you free. Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That was my speech at the Reparations Task Force, as well as asking for reparations, housing, and health care, elimination of college debt. It's so important because we have to do what's right by God's people. You got to understand that. Also including having been born or migrating to the city between 1940 and 1996. as well as showing proof of at least 13 years of residency, having been incarcerated by the failed war on drugs. You know, when they put the war on drugs in black communities, they sent people to prison. The war on drugs in white communities with fentanyl, they're trying to get them counseling. And governors all over the state understand, all over the country understand that. We just want fairness for everybody. Being a descendant of someone who was enslaved through U.S. chattel slavery before 1865, have been displaced between 1954 and 1973, or being a descendant of someone who being part of the marginalized group who experienced leading discrimination in the city between 1937 and 1968. There's a lot of things in there for it. They're asking for a one-time lump sum of payments of $5 million. I'm saying $10 million and a one-time lump sum of $1 million and pay the rest in annuity for a lifetime. That way, it's more possible to get it out faster. But it would compensate an afflicted population for the decades of harms that they have experienced and will redress the economic opportunity losses that black Californians have endured collectively as a result of both intentional decisions and unintended harms perpetuated by the state of California. It's time to do the right thing. The committee also recommends that the city supplement the income of lower income households to match the area's median income for at least 250 years, or as a way to address the racial wealth gap in California. In the Bay Area, the area's median income was $97,000 last year, according to a draft plan. But while neither San Francisco or California formally adopted the institution of chattel slavery, the values of segregation, white supremacy, systemic oppression, redlining, it was in California. Black people were legally codified and enforced, the committee said in their plan. And even dumb people know that. Racism and discrimination has always been wrong in the eyes of God. Now, in the eyes of the devil, all's fair in love and war. But in the eyes of God, with liberty and justice for all, for everyone to have equal rights under the law. The group is also calling for authorities to issue a formal apology. I don't want no apology. I want my money. But they're asking for apology. Don't apologize to me. Give me my money. You want an apology? Or do you want money? Money wins. Give money some praise. Not apologizing. That's like somebody come on and kicking your butt. Hey, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to hit you upside the head. I was upset. No. I don't need your apology. Get your foot off my neck. Give me my money. Isn't that what they did, President Zelensky? Did they give him his money? $100 billion. Then he came back for $2 billion. Then got another $500 million. Treat black Americans the same. John Dennis, chairman of the San Francisco Republican Party, he said that paying black Americans for harm that ever happened would not be fair. He didn't complain when our Jewish brethren receive Holocaust payments. You see, not everybody's going to be pro-reparations because the devil had kids too. The Southern Confederates, even though they lost the war, they were given our land. They didn't complain. They used it. They made loans against it. They sold it. They built property on it. They didn't give it back. But they're telling black Americans, well, you don't deserve any reparations because what happened was done a long time ago. Everybody here that's alive today, we're alive because what our parents did a long time ago. They heard some Teddy Pendergrass. He started singing, turn off the lights and light a candle. You see, there's something I want to do to you, baby. And when the woman didn't turn off the lights when Teddy was passing the lights, Teddy said, turn them off! She turned off the lights, and 9 months later, a baby was born. Give turning off the lights some praise, if that makes sense to you. At the same time, there's a lot of people with common decency, like the United Nations. They want to make sure that reparations happen because it's fair. And people know that. You will see some of the Southern Confederates on radio stations trying to see how their great-great-granddaddies, yeah, they had slaves. Yeah, there was a lot of raping going on. There was a lot of lynching going on. They were burning down buildings, burning down properties, selling off children. But why do we got to pay reparations? Look at all that money we benefited from. They're on the radio, too. I heard some of them today. Some of them just like the devil. They come but to kill, steal, and destroy. San Francisco is among several cities and states across the country that are working to atone for harms caused by slavery. And the institutional racism efforts gain momentum on the heels of the national uprising after the aftermath of the George Floyd killing in 2020, which rekindled the Black Lives Matter movement. Reparations measures have been passed in Evanston, Illinois, in Also, other states are looking at it. Over the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, looking at it. All smart people. The dumb people know. The erudite, well-read people, they're pro-reparations. President Biden is pro-reparations, and he's going to sign an executive order. But I think there's enough decent people, black and white, now outside of Senator Mitch McConnell and a few other knuckleheads. Clarence Thomas may not sign it because he hated his great-grandparents and his parents. He won't sign it. But there are enough decent people that will sign it. And President Biden, he signed the crime bill. He's going to atone for it. We don't all live forever. But when God says, put your hand on the Bible and tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth will help you, God. Once you read this letter on the page, you can't say it unless you are the devil. And the devil's being kicked out of politics. I mean, that's just true. So many people, they have a belief that, right now is not the time. We don't want to do anything to hurt people. Right now is not the time. Let's just wait. No, study California Reparations Task Force. And speaking with the chairwoman Camila Moore, brilliant, beautiful, erudite woman, and the esteemed leadership of Senator Stephen Bradford and many others. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful meeting. And the fact that Big C Sports was the only sports podcaster in the universe that was there, while my other brethren at the mothership being fired. And they refused to do what I've been calling for, a clarion call for justice, for liberty and justice for all. Give liberty and justice for all some praise. A lot of us guys, don't be sad that they fired you. Start your own show. Get your own wife. Grow your own garden. Quit begging a man if you can lift your head. Hey, boss, can I tell you what I think will help my family generation in my family legacy? And the boss says, no. Shut up, boy. Go do what I told you. And they've been shucking and jiving. They put them on TV to have these fake arguments. The fake arguments about who's bigger, stronger, and faster. And I've been telling my brother and champion reparations. I'm on more platforms than any other sports podcaster. I don't have the robots behind me to make it seem like I'm all over television, but I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, and all I want to do is make liberty and justice for all last for everybody. What did Dr. Martin Luther King say? He wants people to be kind and loving and involved. We should all be involved. We should all celebrate greatness. We should all give Big C Sports some praise. You think it's easy to have people throwing darts at you, trying to wish that you fail, trying to pull the wool out from under your eyes? There's been a lot of shenanigans in my personal life and business life. But I do what my mama says, rise and shine, and I only pay homage to God. As he said in Genesis 13:15, for all the land that thou seest will I give you. I want to be like Moses when God told Moses in the book, he said, in Exodus 4:10-12, he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. But Moses said he was afraid. He said, could you get someone else to do it? I'm not the most eloquent speaker. And God said, according to Scripture, I will help you speak and I will teach you what to say. And when he said, but who don't tell him sent me? And God looked at Moses and he said, tell him I am sent you. I always call on God. I'm asking for that $6 billion. I deserve it, and God knows it, and so do the people that are going to give it to me, because I will employ people also under the Big C Sports Podcast Network. Tell it from the mountaintop. Give me some praise. It's a great, great opportunity to work with Big C Sports. We cover it all for you: the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, soccer, boxing, MMA, horse racing, drag racing, NASCAR. We do it all for you. College football, college sports, football, basketball, baseball. Even do high school Friday Night Lights for the football season. And when I get more correspondents, can do it for basketball and baseball too, and track and field. I just want everybody to do the best they can and understand that life is about opportunity. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. I will always do the best I can to rise and shine. I thank my family legacy. My great-grandmother called her Mamo. My great-grandfather called him Pop. My beautiful grandmother called her Mud Deer. My beautiful grandfather called him Hezekiah, and the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. I'm telling you, love her with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Started a Head Start programs, food programs. It wasn't easy, but she did it anyway. Even coached some all boys, literally baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And on my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, was a pastor, owned 40 acres of land, also owned 2 gas stations. He had 3 churches. And I'm telling you, my grandmother, Alberta Curry, told me there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now Big C Sports Podcast is syndicated on 27 podcast applications all over the universe. While a lot of my brethren been laid off. She told me there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. I got so many compliments from lawmakers in California for the task force yesterday. I've heard it all my life, but I still say thank you and give it praise. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force pilot, always saying the ability of mind to a size extent. My beautiful brother, I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying go forward. And then the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. Set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media for the first time in the history of the United States. They started carrying Monday Night Football because of what Big C Sports and the crew did. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, Daisy. And she also scored 6 goals in a soccer game. Daisy with the kick, Daisy for the goal! Amazing. Love you. You could be anything, Isaiah 54:17. And my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. Helped me save trees, told me to Google. He said, Google the stats you're looking for, and a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. He also said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? They got the TV and the remote of the TV say play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You and Daisy are now millionaires once President Biden signs the legislation. There's only one father in the history of the universe that's been championing reparations. That's your dad. I've been there for you all my life, and I will always be there. Don't let anybody divide you. But you gotta keep praying up, because when you get this money, there'll be people coming after you trying to get it. And we'll talk about that when you get into a trust. And don't marry anybody without them signing that prenup. If that makes sense to you. People will change, like my birds, all friend level work. Then Big C, with all that work and knowledge over the years, like my great granddaddy coming out of that barn, always saying, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Let's get ready to rumble. I'm so excited. As I always tell you, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. If you're gonna drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. Call Uber, call Lyft. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But whatever you do, don't drink and drive. The life you save may be your own. My beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. But back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because all the Big C burgers that I eat make me light on my feet, and that's why I float like a butterfly, and I think like a bee. My beautiful mother always says, I'll say it one more time, reparations now, reparations forever. Say it with Abraham Lincoln. Reparations now. Reparations forever. Say it one more time. Reparations now. Reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. Have a super fantastic day.